Welcome to Meet the Court. I'm your host, Jawad Johnson. Meet the Court is brought to you as a public service by the Superior Court of New Jersey in Atlantic and Cape May counties, as well as the Cape May Institute of Technology, to better inform you, the public, of the workings of the court and the role of the judiciary. Today's topic, community outreach programs. What are they? Who do they service? And how do they affect members of the community? Our guest today, the Honorable Mark Sanson, presiding judge of the Drug Court in Atlantic and Cape May counties, and Jill Hauk, criminal division manager in Atlantic and Cape May counties. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Jawad.
Before we begin, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Judge, we'll start with you.
Starting with me, I'm a native of Atlantic City, New Jersey. I practiced law for many years in Atlantic City and became a judge in 2007. Been a judge for approximately 11 years now. I've served in the family division. I served in the criminal division. I was the general equity judge for a couple of years, and now for about the last 2 years I've been sitting as the drug court judge in Cape May and Atlantic counties.
Thank you, Judge. Jill, tell us about your background.
I've been with the judiciary almost 15 years, the majority of that time with the criminal division. I've been the criminal division manager about 2 years now. And I have my degree in forensic psychology from John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Thank you. Okay, now that we know a little bit about you, let's turn to our topic. Judge, you have been the point person on the outreach program, One Judge, One School, which I understand is in its 5th year. Can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Actually, 6th year.
Oh.
But that's good. Approximately 5 or 6 years ago, Judge Mendez and I were having a conversation about what ways could we at the courthouse in the judiciary you take more of an outreach role. We're become very insular, sitting every day in our courtrooms, dealing with a lot of people, often very sad stories, people whose lives before us are coming apart and sometimes hopefully being put back together. And I think also the perception of the judiciary may not be the highest in the minds of the public because they associate the courtroom with a lot of very negative experiences, either from family matters or criminal matters. Even litigation is not something that most people think is a particularly beneficial experience. But looking at it from the inside, as Judge Mendez and I both do, we saw that there are a lot of really incredible things that are happening in the courthouse on a day-to-day basis. We are providing justice for the people of these counties and this state on a essentially 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day basis. There's someone always on duty there. We have no vested interest in one person or another. We're trying to do justice. It's very difficult. It is impactful in the lives of people. So the theory was, how do we get the message out? It's very difficult to find venues where adults are going to congregate to hear a story like that because people are too busy working day to day. However, when you have a school-age population, and particularly we target the high school-age population, the 14 to 18-year-olds approximately, their kids are in school often studying criminal justice, constitutional law, social studies. A lot of things we do are directly relevant to that population. But there had been little or no outreach. Whatever outreach there was to the schools was on an extremely haphazard basis. So what we decided to do, there are approximately 25 high schools in the Atlantic and Cape May County vicinage. That's our judicial organization. It's called a vicinage. It's 2 counties. And we decided we have approximately that amount of judges. Why don't we go and assign 1 judge to each high school and try to arrange 2 visits at each high school and at least 1 courthouse visits where these young people can come to our courthouses and see the day-to-day dramas that are going on in the family division, the criminal division, the civil division, and certainly in drug court. We've been doing that for 5 years. This is our 6th year. We have had tremendous amounts of success. We have had approximately 4,000 to 5,000 interactions with students in Atlantic and Cape May County per year for those 5 or 6 years. It has been greeted. The kids are extremely excited about it, and frankly, the judges are excited about it as well. The most amazing thing, Jawad, is I have never asked the judge to take responsibility, be a liaison with any particular school, and have had that judge say no to me. So it's a great program. We're all in it, and it's been extraordinarily successful.
No, that sounds like a great undertaking. So how do you keep something like that totally organized?
Well, that's a very good question and very difficult. We have somebody right here with us today, Kathleen Obringer, who is the Ombudsman for the Superior Court. She has done a lot of it. I have been very active in it. And Judge Mendez and Howard Berchtold, Howard's our trial court administrator, they have been very invested in it. So when we need to be other places than in the courtroom, we have had no problem getting coverage when we go to schools. It is a communal investment by the judiciary, by the judges, and by the staff people, frankly. Jawad, I know you're involved, Jill is involved, and most of the staff people who work for the judiciary are involved. The traditional way our organizational chart works is we have a school. Let's take Atlantic City High School, for example. I am in charge. I'm a liaison with Atlantic City High School, which is my alma mater. And very frankly, many of the judges go to the high schools that they graduated from. And I have a FACE team member, which is a judiciary employee, who is a non-judge judiciary employee who often is an Atlantic City High School, Atlantic City person who has contacts there. We set up a speaking engagement. I usually take a prosecutor, I take a public defender, I take another civil lawyer, family lawyer. We have a team of 4 or 5 people that I will take to Atlantic City High School. I'm doing it later this month. And so we keep that on an organizational basis. And what we do in our program, which I was really insistent about, and for a change I was right, we keep statistics. We know where we've been, how many people we've interacted with. One of the most amazing things is we had a, and you know, it's just, you know, you get a payback in all sorts of ways, and most of the payback is really being able to meet kids on a one-to-one basis and tell them what you do and perhaps provide career advice to them. But we were at the Judicial College this year, and Jill, you were at another Judicial College where the Chief Justice, all of a sudden out of the blue, started to take note of the Atlantic City One Judge, One School program. Incidentally, One Judge, One School, OJOS, OJOS, is our kind of our symbol, and ojos in Spanish means eye. So it is kind of the eyes of the judiciary, which are focused on the community, and we're really trying to help people and inform them and to discuss various issues that may come up.
Judge, just briefly, can you tell us what topics you cover?
Well, we're supposedly going to cover the American Bar Association as a law day topic every year. It is usually extremely uninteresting. No offense to the American Bar Association. They're a bunch of really great people. But this year it's separation of powers, which is somewhat interesting. But if I were to tell you that I stuck on script of the separation of powers issues, we try to discuss that. But really, when I go to schools, what do we discuss? We discuss, because of my drug court orientation, we discuss drugs. We discuss drugs, recovery, the dangers that drugs present to young people. I see it every day in drug court. And the kids that we talk to are extremely interested, and it's an extremely important time of their lives to really get keyed in on what's happening and the dangers and exposures that exist in our community. We talk about gun cases in New Jersey. We talk about things that are generally of interest to them, and we can be easily swayed by a question or two into any of the various topics covering any of the matters that we really address as judges on a daily basis. I just want to say also, when we have our courthouse visits, I have a popular destination now because drug court is popular for high school social studies teachers. They come in, they see what we're doing. We have 800 people in drug court in Atlantic and Cape May counties. It's the biggest program in the state. And they see lives that are being put back together firsthand. It's tremendously important for these kids, and they respond well to it.
This is Meet the Court. I'm your host, Jawad Johnson. We'll be back with Judge Sanson and Joe Houck after this message.
Hello, my name is Tom Hegarty. I'm a sergeant with the Cape May County Sheriff's Office. And some of the things that you should know when you enter any of our courthouses is that once you come in, you're going to be screened by an officer at the front desk. So what you should not have on you is any weapons, tools, anything that's going to slow down that process. You're going to come in, put all your metal objects up on the counter, step through the metal detector, listening to the officer's direction. Once you step through, he'll let you know whether you can continue on or whether you should stop. If he stops you, you may have to be wanded with the hand wand. Detect anything else that you may have on you that's not picking up. So to speed your trip along and to help come in, because there may be lines when you come in and there may be delays. So you want to get here early, and you also want to have less objects on you that will impede your progress of coming in.
Welcome back to Meet the Court. I'm your host, Jawad Johnson. Today, we're discussing community outreach programs with my guests, Judge Mark Sanson and Jill Houck. So Judge Sanson, we were talking about the One Judge, One School program, and you seem to be very passionate about this subject. Is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers know about the program?
The only thing I can say, Jawad, is that what is happening in the courthouses, we have 3 in this vicinage. We have Atlantic City, the civil courthouse, family courthouse, and in Mays Landing, the criminal courthouse, and Cape May courthouses, both combined, is our real-life dramas taking place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're open to the public. There's very few proceedings which are closed. It's my belief that the more people get involved and understand what the workings of our judicial system, the more they will learn to respect it and to honor it, particularly with children. Children watch all this fantasy on TV, the courtroom shows. What's the big one about the district attorneys? I don't even know. I sound like I don't watch a lot of TV, which I don't. But all of these programs portray an unreal world. The real world is that judges are honest, decent people. We're all kind of normal. We try to do the best we can. We try to be fair and impartial. We're women and men who have all practiced law for at least 10 years. And we are interested in helping our community, and to the extent we can, we do. We are fully invested in the One Judge, One School, or OJOS program, and it's going to continue. We're going to be visiting schools in your community, and hopefully this program will last for a long time to come.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
So, Jill, this brings us to you. I understand as Criminal Division Manager, you are directing several impactful community programs, one commonly referred to as the Bus Station Outreach. Could you describe that program to us a little bit more?
Once a month, on the last Tuesday of every month, the judiciary, along with several other social service agencies such as Jewish Family Services, Volunteers of America, South Jersey Legal Services, the county welfare board that helps people find housing and provides general assistance. We all meet at the bus station in Atlantic City. We're there from 8 to 11 in the morning. And we just do outreach, and we talk to everybody that is in the bus station. It is a place in Atlantic City where sometimes the homeless do congregate, as well as some other at-risk people. But we've been doing this since 2015, so pretty much the community is aware that we are always there the last Tuesday of every month. And what the judiciary does is we have our computers, we set them up, and we look up people's cases. We see if they're eligible for an expungement. We see if they have any bench warrants. We try to get them recalled if possible and get them a new court date so they don't risk being arrested and being put in jail. We help people get their driver's licenses back if their driver's license has been suspended by the court. And we also answer any other general court questions. We have information on landlord-tenant, child support, family court matters, and other things like that.
So, Jill, I'm sure our viewers want to know, why a bus station?
Well, I'm on a local committee called the FACE Team, and the goal of that committee is to do community outreach. And we were discussing a couple years ago how our outreach efforts were not very successful. We didn't receive a lot of attendance at places like the library and the courthouse. So I said, well, we have to go somewhere where there already are people and there's a lot of natural traffic, especially at-risk people that do need our services, like the bus station. And it just happened that a friend of mine, or a colleague that worked with Jewish Family Services, was just starting a relationship with the New Jersey Transit Police at the bus station. to help some of the homeless people that were congregating there. And we just went to him and we asked him if we could set up a table once a month and what we planned on doing. And it has just grown tremendously. In May 2015 was our first event. And in 2015, we served 125 people. In 2016, we served 293 people, so almost a double. And in 2017, we saw 511 people. And we're consistently seeing between 40 and 60 people every month at the bus station.
Wow, so that's a lot of people that you're servicing. So what types of questions or issues do most of those people have?
Most people want to know if they have any bench warrants and if we can have them recalled and get them a court date. Some people have children. They don't want to, be arrested in front of their children. They want to be able to go to work without, being in fear of being arrested. And most of these bench warrants are for minor matters that, the court is happy to vacate because we really do not want to see anyone go to jail. People ask if they're eligible for an expungement. An expungement is an order that a judge signs, basically retracting someone's record from public view. So we can screen people to see if they're eligible for that. People also have just basic court questions, about how do they file for a divorce, landlord-tenant issues. But mostly we have people that ask about bench warrants and expungements.
Okay. Judge Sanson, just going back to you, are there any other counties in the state of New Jersey that are doing a one judge, one school type program?
Not currently. One of the things that when we were at Judicial College, Chief Justice Rabner indicated that he would like to see more activity. I'm certainly available to assist, but to my knowledge, we're the only program like it in this country. It's been enormously successful. We've won various regional awards for it, and I don't really care about the awards. It doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is that we're really helping kids understand the importance of being a law-abiding citizen. That's what high school is really all about. I mean, you learn a lot of other stuff, but if you can't learn how to fit in with society, not do drugs, stay working, do as much education as will help you make a living, and ultimately have a family and stay with that family and support that family, then we're really not accomplishing anything in our high schools. So I feel our program is something that is going to help young people go along those lines to be the future citizens of tomorrow.
This is Meet the Court. I'm your host, Jawad Johnson. We'll be back with our guests, Judge Sanson and Jill Houck, after this message.
Hello again. Some of the things that you should know when you're entering a courtroom is there's a certain courtroom etiquette that's expected of you. You should come in, quietly take a seat, remain quiet at all times. You should remove any coverings on your head, hats, hoodies, sit down, take any cell phones, turn them completely off and have them away. If they're seen out, they can be confiscated. There's an officer that usually sits in the front of the room. He is there for the judge's safety as well as the public safety. So if you're going to ask him a question, instead of just blurting it out or getting up and approaching him, get his attention discreetly, raise your hand, and he will approach you and ask the question at a quiet level. Okay, thank you.
Welcome back to Meet the Court. I'm your host, Jawad Johnson. We are continuing our conversation about community outreach programs with our guests, Judge Mark Sanson and Jill Houck. Jill, we were talking about the bus station outreach program, but I'd like to turn to something that our viewers may have heard of, mini fugitive safe surrenders. Could you describe that program to us?
The past year, we've had two larger scale events, one in Atlantic City and one in Pleasantville, where it was along the lines of the large scale fugitive safe surrender that was in Atlantic County in 2012, where thousands and thousands of people came to get their bench warrants recalled. It's obviously smaller than that, but bigger than the bus station. So we have it on a Saturday instead of during the weekday. And what we do is people come, they get screened to see if they have bench warrants, and then their bench warrants, most bench warrants, are recalled, no questions asked, and then they get a new court date. So this year alone, 476 people attended those 2 events, and we were able to recall 407 bench warrants. There is another mini fugitive safe surrender event that is occurring in Atlantic City on May 12th, and it is called Put Your Life Back on Track.
So you talked about expungements, and you gave us a definition of what an expungement is. But I understand that the Criminal Division does an expungement seminar. Can you explain what that process is like?
Yes, I go into the community. I actually did one yesterday, usually at job placement programs, sometimes at churches, and I just explain what the eligibility guidelines are for an expungement, what an expungement is, what the benefits are, and the process someone has to take in order to get an expungement granted.
So what are the eligibility requirements for an expungement?
That is sort of a tricky question because a new law was just signed right before January that does go into effect in October. But currently, the guidelines are someone cannot have more than 1 indictable or felony conviction or more than 2. If they have an indictable conviction, more than 2 disorderly persons convictions. If they don't have an indictable convictions, they can have up to 3 disorderly person convictions expunged, unless they have graduated from drug court, and then they can have their entire record expunged regardless of how many convictions they have. That is changing in October, though. October 1st, more people will be eligible for an expungement. The guidelines loosened a little bit.
Sounds like a step in the right direction. So you talked about new legislation. One of the biggest sweeping reform changes in the state of New Jersey through new legislation was criminal justice reform. What type of outreach efforts have taken place to introduce the public to this new legislation?
We provide handouts and information at the bus station every month on criminal justice reform. People do always have questions that we answer them, but we also went into the community and did some criminal justice reform specific events. We did several in Atlantic City, some in Pleasantville. We did several in Cape May. And we basically just explain what the new law is to the public and tell them that it is to their benefit to support this new program, and we answer any questions that anybody has. So it really is a constant outreach effort when it comes to criminal justice reform, to just inform the public and make sure that they're aware of the change in the law.
So we talked about a lot of outreach programs that are currently taking place, and yourself, you've been a part of those outreach programs. What other staff members are involved, and do you involve the judges as well?
Some municipal judges are involved at the fugitive safe surrender events. Other than that, we really don't have judges involved in the fugitive safe surrender or the bus station events. Our municipal presiding judge, Louis Belasco, he was very involved in the criminal justice reform outreach efforts. And our assignment judge, Julio Mendez, and our trial court administrator, Howard Birchtold, are very supportive of all of our outreach efforts. And it definitely is a focus for our vicinage to do as many outreach events as possible to reach as many people.
Are there any other agencies that partner with the judiciary to conduct these outreach events?
Most of the social service agencies in Atlantic and Cape May County do partner with us. Jewish Family Services, Volunteers of America, Cape Counseling, both of the county welfare boards do. And legal services, South Jersey Legal Services. So we do have, a wraparound approach when we do outreach and make sure that other people are there to fulfill other needs other than court matters.
So, Judge, you spoke with such passion about the One Judge, One School program. I wonder if there's any other personal rewards for yourself or the other judges that participate in the program.
Yeah, here's the key. As I said before, there's 25 high schools. There's coincidentally approximately 25 judges in the 2 counties. Never has anybody, as I said, ever denied an opportunity to speak at a school. We're all local residents. We all go to the same Wawas. We all go to the same ShopRites. We all go to the same schools and to the football games, the basketball games. It's great when we see people there who said, my son or daughter saw you at X high school and they said you were great. They really now want to go to law school. I've had various people tell me that their children want to go to law school, want to become judges, want to become this, want to become that, probation officers, people working for the judiciary. We also stress career opportunities in the judiciary, not just being a lawyer. There's a million other things where people can really make a great livelihood and make a contribution to the community. We all try to do that, and spreading the word is part of our function. We have a very supportive judiciary in that regard, and we're extremely proud of this one-of-a-kind program.
Our outreach programs seem like they're doing a lot for the community. We are just about out of time. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us today on this episode of Meet the Court, and I'd like to thank you, our viewing audience, for tuning in. I'm Jawad Johnson. Goodbye for now.